Good morning, everybody. My name is Corey Scholl, and it's my privilege to moderate this conversation, which is going to be the best conversation we have all day, for sure. We're going to talk about driving growth in new markets. And the reason why we want to talk about this, especially with this panel, is I can tell you last decade, working with partners, that's been the consistent conversation. How do we grow? How do we get in new areas? How do we get new functions? Like all these things on growth, specifically like in new territories, and how do we do this? So we brought three amazing, powerful individuals to be on our panel, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce you all. So, Irene Amato, a self-made leader whose experience as a first-time homebuyer shaped your entire career and how you do business. So, absolutely amazing. Alicia Jones, very successful in transitioning from one state to another, literally going from Florida to Texas, completely new market, and just absolutely proving that you can rebuild anywhere with scale and confidence. So love it. And then last but not least, Esteban Ortega, a champion for Hispanic and Latino homebuyers, building vital bridges between communities and financial opportunity.
Thank you for having me.
Let's give them all a round of applause, please. So before we dive in with the questions, go ahead and bring up promise number 9. Again, we grow the whole pie, not just our slice. Now, this is a promise about all of us here in this room and everybody virtually at home. Like, as we expand into new markets, think about you're not just growing a book of business, you're expanding access to home ownership for more families in more communities. That's the spirit behind today's discussion. So, we got a lot of questions. Let's get into it. First one, same question for both of you. Irene, what's your favorite color?
Hot pink.
Hot pink. Okay. Alicia?
Pink.
Pink as well.
Blue.
Okay. You got it wrong. It's pink. Good job. All right. So the real question for all of you, what was like the turning point in your career that pushed you into a new market? We'll start with Irene at the end.
I have two. One is my son on the soccer field, videotaping my son. And the second is 2008, the meltdown.
That's good. 2008, impactful year. It was.
Yep.
Alicia?
I have one. I started out in the industry as a realtor, and I had such a bad transaction with a loan officer, and I decided at that point I wanted to switch sides of the table to assist the buyers on this side as a mortgage professional, and it's been fulfilling.
That's awesome.
My story, I had a closing with a client who started tearing up at the closing table, and I asked why. It turned out her son had autism, and she would drive by this property almost daily, and her son would constantly say, "We should buy that home, we should buy that home." It turns out about 2 years before that, they were about to close on a different home, and she lost her job. So this was a very special moment for her, which in turn, like I said, that really touched me and said, I need to help more and do more.
That's awesome. I love all those stories. Irene, I'm going to go back to you on this one, though. Like, again, shared that your home buying experience was a major motivator for you in your career and your legacy. Like, how did that shape how you built creditability in a very competitive market in New York?
So I was born and raised to drug addict parents, right? We know that. And we didn't have much. We never had a home that was stability. We didn't have that stable environment. And I felt it was extremely important having that to give to homeowners, right? The American dream of home ownership. And a lot of times people don't buy homes because they're shot down before their story's even unfolded, right? Oh yeah, bad credit, don't come. Well, we can fix bad credit. You can help us fix bad credit. They don't have enough income, get a co-borrower. Sometimes you don't have that ability to know when you're a loan officer. You really need to take charge. And I set out on a mission to understand first-time buyers, every program out there, every way that I could possibly help them. Never say no, just say not right now.
That's great. I think we'll stick with like that creditability, like for everybody, how do you gain credibility in communities where you just don't have a reputation yet?
Oh, me?
We'll keep going down the list.
So, again, I think it's authenticity, caring, genuinely caring and connecting with your clients. You know, you're here to build a legacy, not just to sell mortgages. I'm not a salesperson. I genuinely care. And I think when you care about people, first-time buyers, right, they talk a lot. They're so excited. They can't wait to tell all of their friends that they bought a home. And when you make that experience unbelievable for them and you give them that power and empower them, they're doing this all day long and it translates into business for you without even having that be the motive, right?
Yeah, I think that's like, just go back to like what Jonathan said, you know, it's not marketing, it's not sales, like it's authenticity.
Right.
Right, and that's what you bring, because you're not selling anything, you're just being authentic.
Right. Well, you can sell a mortgage, but I don't know how far that's going to take you.
Yeah, that's great.
And are you going to love what you do?
Yeah.
I like to say you serve first and you sell second. Let people get to know who you are, because people do business with who they trust and who they like.
It's very important.
Yep, being genuine. You know, always put your clients first ahead of your own pockets, and you'll definitely be successful.
That's great. I'm gonna go back to the same question though, Alicia. So like, you moved your business from Florida to Texas, right? 2 different areas, starting fresh, okay? Again, like thinking about like, how did you build that reputation in a completely different market?
Really just kicking back on that serving first and selling second, building authentic relationships with my local real estate agents. I think last year, the year before, I took like 4 trips to Rocket, bringing agents with me, just showing them that, hey, I want to help you build your business before you help me build my business. And that in turn turned into relationships where I know my realtors, their kids' names, their birthdays are in my cell phones. I build these authentic relationships with them through serving them, which has allowed me to build business in a brand new state that I didn't know anybody in.
That's awesome. So go to everybody on this one. Irene, we'll switch it up. We'll go to Esteban first.
Okay.
Give you a break.
Well,
So
Pressure's
thinking
on.
about partnerships, real estate agents, community groups, that whole whatever, everything in the community, like where was the most helpful in establishing trust? And maybe we'll just start with real estate agents and maybe then go back to like the communities you guys serve.
Just making sure your mission aligns with their mission, right? So making sure that they have the same beliefs in helping the client.
That's good. Alicia?
I think connecting with the communities, entrenching yourself in the sports teams, like Varun said, our names are on the back of their shirts. We care about the kids. We care about the communities. We do backpacks for kids. We're giving away school supplies. We're entrenched in the communities themselves. And you walk in the supermarket, you're meeting people, past clients, and so that's the way we generate business and continue to grow our brand.
That's great. Alicia?
Same, just being that ideal loan officer for your ideal client, whether that's the realtor that you're, getting in front of, or the buyer. Branding yourself that way within your community through serving, volunteering, and doing things of that nature.
That's great. I mean, you guys are aligned, which is amazing. I think a couple years ago, one of our events actually hosted a conversation, and like it was half the room was loan officers, half the room was real estate agents, and it didn't go so well. From the standpoint where a lot of people were trying to figure out then, because the market hadn't really shifted yet, it just started to kind of shift really into a purchase market, and refis were starting to fail a little bit, and we had a lot of loan officers saying like, how do we start talking to real estate agents, right? And so we said, great, we got real estate agents in the room, let's have this conversation. But there was so much of, I want to take. There wasn't that much of like the giving and the supporting and being in the community and showing that you're there. So love hearing that you guys are on the same page. Esteban, you work with Hispanic, Latino homebuyers. And this is like you built your partnerships that way. Like maybe go a little bit deeper on how you did that, why you do it, how you identified that.
Well, I actually was very lucky. I grew up with a lot of my partners, a lot of my agent partners. But genuinely being genuine with your partners and with new agents and making sure that, again, their mission aligns with your mission is huge, right? Because in the Hispanic market, trust is absolutely crucial. So you got to make sure your real estate agents and your client trust you, that you have their best interest at heart. So going out, networking, getting to know your partners, your agents, and what they, where they want to take their business is absolutely imperative.
Yeah, that's great. Trust. It's the thing. All right. What advice do you all have for brokers out there, loan officers that are worried that they have to start over in a new market? We'll start in the middle on this one.
Okay. I would say don't be worried, right? When we think about, let's say, your luxury real estate agent in your community, someone comes to mind when you think about that VA loan officer or the agent that has all the listings. Someone comes to mind because they branded themselves that way. They branded themselves to be the luxury real estate agent, even though they take all type of buyers. So if you're thinking about getting into a new market, it's super important that you show up in your community the way you want to be seen. And again, that we kick that back on being authentic in your community, but showing up in your community as if you want to be the veteran loan officer. So when someone says VA loan officer, they think about you, like Esteban. Hispanic home ownership, they think about him. Whoever you want to be in your community, in this new community or new market, then show up that way with your branding. I like to say you want to be the ideal loan officer for your ideal buyer.
That's great. Irene?
I would say whether it be you're going into a market for just investors, you want to stay in your geographical location, but you want to hit investors. That's what you want to do your specialty. Or if you want to change and go to a different geographical market, I think it's important to educate yourself. It's not going to come easy. You can brand, but you have to know your products. You have to know if you're going to sell to investors, you have to put the work in and understand the programs. You have to know, you can't just say I'm a specialist, right? I mean, you have to know what you're selling and be confident. So I think confidence is key, and you can't be confident if you don't have the right answers, because you won't come across that way. So education, come to these events, talk to your AEs, get updated, and make sure that you know what you're selling, and then your confidence will go through and you'll relax your consumers, and sooner or later you'll be that expert.
Yeah, I think when I think about Irene, I swear every time we talk, or I try to get a hold of you, you're doing some type of event.
Yeah.
Like it's a constant thing, whether it's for real estate agents or women's groups, like you're always involved in the community. It's amazing.
Right? That's our branding.
That's your brand. Yeah. Esteban?
Know your market. Definitely, like you said, educate yourself, know your market. It's very important to know that it's never too late to get into any market, no matter how long you've been in your career, right? So know your market, be genuine, and be impactful. Be intentional with your goal and your mission, and you'll be successful. It's a matter of pushing forward. Don't be discouraged with anything, and you'll be able to get into any community.
Yeah, I mean, you've all proven again that expanding doesn't mean like erasing what you've already done, right? And what you've built. Like, what would you say is, for everyone in this room, like that first step a broker should take starting tomorrow if they want to expand in a new market?
I think it's a combination of probably what we all said, making sure you know the market that you're trying to get into, making sure you're branding yourself for that market, show up in that market as the expert. People learn as they go. Don't forget that. And being authentic, like Esteban said.
I would say whether you have a team or you're individual, this applies. Know your strengths, know your why, know your focus, like get a grasp of what you're good at and what you're not. So many people focus on their negative points or what they can't do. Focus on what you can and your strengths or your team members. I recently, I've been in business almost 30 years, and I recently, past 10 years, have realized I can't push someone to do something that they're not great at. Know their strengths, use them in that position, and get someone that's strong in their other areas and combine them, and you'll make an ultimate team. Or if it's your own self and you're just the broker owner and it's just you, if you have something that you're not good at that's soaking up your time, walk out of here and weigh what it's going to cost you to get an assistant, because that's how you're going to grow. I never would have been able to grow if I didn't realize that I needed an assistant to do certain things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, be intentional, right? If you're gonna do something, do it. You know, you have to start somewhere. Don't just say I'm gonna do this, and next thing you know, a week passes, you didn't do anything. A month passes, you didn't work on it. So you have to work on it daily. You know, little by little, one step at a time, and you'll get there before you know it.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yeah, I would
Steps.
say don't. It doesn't come without hard work. Anything in life is hard work if you want to achieve something. You can't just expect to be the top broker or the top producer without putting in the effort.
Yeah.
Making sure the consistency's there.
Absolutely. All great questions. This is our final question. I believe this is the most important question. So take your time, because we've got some time, okay? Like, I want you each to go over your personal why, and how does that influence your approach to business? We'll start with Irene.
Wow. So my why, I explained to everybody, right, is providing home ownership, and it's a very strong why, because I'm connected to it. I like to help change the trajectory of people's lives, and that doesn't stop with consumers. It extends to my team, right? If you have a team, you're changing their life. You're providing them a job to support their families. For me, I took it one step further. I'm a mom. I have 3 adult children, but I still call them children. And I wanted to be at every game. I wanted to be everything. I wanted it all, right? So how am I going to expect to want that and be at every game and do the Girl Scout leader and not provide that for my team, right? You need to have happy employees. So for me, I changed the trajectory of their lives by doing that, enabling them to, leave early on Halloween so they could be at the parade, making sure that they have off on their birthday. Nobody should work on their birthdays. I don't want to work on my birthday. So I changed their lives as well as our consumers, because I empower them, and that's my company culture, is to empower, not impress, just empower them with the information necessary to know that they can achieve the dream of home ownership. And that's the ultimate gift. And like I said, I don't chase the dollar, I chase the trajectory of people's life and changing it, and the dollar follows. So that would...
Alicia?
My personal why is, rooted in peace, stability, as well as strategy with me growing my business. I am a wife first, a mom, and then a mortgage broker. Right? I like to put that as my last title. And so everything and every decision I make kind of filters through those different titles that I hold. And so my personal why and how I use it just to approach business is through those lenses. So everything is through that. Again, kind of like what Irene said, I don't chase the volume. If it is gonna mess up my peace, if I can't make it to a game, if I can't go on a date with my husband in the evening, I'm not doing it. I didn't even bring my laptop here, right? That's how much I value my peace. So all of my decisions are made through that.
I need to work on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a struggle for sure. That
And I had
peace
two
and the
closings
dating,
today.
I got to work on that. That's a tough one. That's one.
Family, not just family by blood, but also like my colleagues. They're my family. My clients, you have to really treat them like family. You have to have their best interest at heart. And like Irene said, you have to lead by example. So I'm the first one in, the last one to leave. It's a lot of hard work, but people see that, people respect that, people can see that I'm genuine with what I want to do. And that, again, that's my why.
That's great. I'm a huge believer, proponent of having a very firm why in your life and your business. And, I tell everybody in this room and those virtually, if you don't have a why, you got to have a why, right? And if you do have one, maybe spend some time thinking about it as well, right? Peace, I got to bring that into my why. I don't have that every single day, but you guys all kind of hit on the family thing. Like I did too. I struggled for a while with young kids, as we all do, and it was actually Heather, who was just speaking before us. She kind of just said in one meeting, she's like, you know what? I made a decision to be there for my kids, and if they had an activity or a school event, sporting event, I went to it, and I just got home and I worked until midnight, 1 o'clock. It is what it is. I'm like, going to do the same thing. So why is very important, and it's just, when you think about growing and going into new areas and expanding, mechanics are important, right? Those to-do lists every single day, that's important, but it always goes back to the why, for sure.
2008, you had asked me what, but I'm going to skip 2008, but I'm going to tell you about one pivotal change in my career was my son's soccer game. I was running out the door, I was always running, constantly like juggling everything, every ball in the air. And I went to the soccer game to video it, right? And one of the moms came over and said, tapped me on the shoulder, and she's like, "You're videoing the wrong game. This is not Peter." And I was like, no, I'm videoing for a friend. Not true. But at that moment, I just felt everything, and I said, I gotta balance this. I can't keep going like this. And that was my decision to hire an assistant. In my mind, I thought, I'm gonna give a chunk of my money away, right? But that's okay, because I'm gonna get to video every game. And I'm gonna get to be there more and show up and balance it all. Well, in the end, not only did I get to be there every day, but I also doubled my production. So you don't realize that. You think you're giving away when you're building your team and spending money, but you're really not. You're actually going to make it back as long as you hire the right person that has the right company culture and process as yours. So I thought that was an important story.
It's great. It's great. Appreciate you all. Again, impactful panelists, and my takeaway for me and for sure for this room is, like, as you go into new markets, as you venture to do new things, and maybe it's, you do refinance now and you want to get into purchase, or you do purchase and you need to figure out refinance, and or you want to expand into new states or add team members, whatever that is. Yes, the mechanics is important, but the why, and realizing that you're not always starting over, you're just leveraging who you are. Right? Any last parting thoughts?
I'll probably just say, just because you talked about that work-life balance,
Yeah.
which is super important. People think that when you talk about work-life balance, that everything has to be like even across the playing field. You can't be a full-time loan officer, a full-time wife, a full-time mom, a full-time parent, whatever, right? You just have to balance out everything that you do. So maybe your job gets a little bit more. Maybe the kids gets a little bit more. Maybe your husband gets a little bit more. My husband gets a lot, but everything balances out in the end. And so I like to look at work-life balance like that. Like, we're not having to juggle this ball up and down all day long. We're just giving a little bit here, a little bit there. And some people get more, some people get less, but it all balances out at the end of the day. So I think that's probably super important for the women.
I would say we're ahead of our game, right? In New York, I know New York like the back of my hand, right? I know everything that my market has. Everybody here knows their market. When you read these newspapers and statistics and national, news, you're hearing it after we already know it happened, right? We know the market's changing now, right? Or we know it. And then 2 months later, it's like, oh, it hit the market, it hit the news. We know what's happening way before any of these news articles get it, because what do? They interview people like us, right? So I think it's important to know the market you're in and strategically position yourself now for what's gonna happen. So like in 2008, I saw it coming in 2007, so I strategically applied for my FHA license, knowing that we were going to need that. And it was tough to get, but it's probably what got me to survive through the mortgage meltdown. I mean, and we had lost like 75% of mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
And I survived. So it's knowing your market now. Don't ignore the noise. Don't ignore the things that are happening right now, the refis that are coming down the market or the purchase market. When you see something happening, get on it now, because it's gonna happen and you know it better than anybody.
Yeah, be the bison that runs into the storm.
Yep.
Right, not the cow that runs away, for sure.
100%.
Esteban?
Go out there, be great and impactful. Go out there and kill it. Don't focus on the number of transactions you do. Focus on the memories you make for your clients. Help them build generational wealth. Help your community build generational wealth.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you again. Appreciate you all. The only thing I would ask of this group, obviously, as we start thinking about breaking for lunch and then we have the reception tonight, please speak with these individuals, right? We just had only a few minutes to really share their stories, but everyone here is looking to expand or get better and do more. So please take the time, the opportunity to speak with them. And with that, appreciate you. Give them a round of applause.